Hello, folks. Welcome to Devil's Advocate Productions on this space. I am Alex. I'm the Devil's Advocate. I talk about movies, music, TV, video games, whatever I want to talk about, and politics over on this space. If you're not following this space, please do. It's on YouTube. If you're on YouTube on my channel, follow my channel. If you're on this space, follow my channel. Anyways, today I have a very special guest who's going to inform me and you about the history of a certain channel called TYT, and that man is Hank Thompson. Thank you very much for joining me, Hank. How you doing? Of winners
Hello.
and losers.
What's up, Alex? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, man.
Good.
I have been playing ball pit. I know you're also a fan.
Yeah, I got a ball to pick with you about that. Thanks for ruining my life. Okay,
You
I've
got a new addiction. I understand.
too much to do. I got my Rocket League and my Valheim addictions going, and then this guy here who's got trustworthy recommendations gets me to look something up on Steam. Overwhelmingly
Free demo.
positive, affordable. The demo was free, and then then I lose a bunch of hours playing the demo. It's only $11.99, 20% off, I think. So then I fricking pay it with money I don't have, and now my life is destroyed. Thanks to Alex. So what a game, though. Jeez, it's so what the heck?
I know, and your life's about to get more destroyed because there's updates coming this year.
We did it. Over 1,000 copies of Ball Pit have been sold. I'm sorry, does that say 1,000? Because that's wrong. It's over 1,000 thousands. I should know. I've been watching number go up. 1 million players. That's so many. And they all paid money. So you know what that means. Kenny has to make more Ball Pit. Next year, 3 updates are already scheduled to come to Ball Pit, each of them bringing new balls, new evolutions, new buildings, new characters, and more. The Regal update in January, with hunters molded by high society. The Shadow update in April, with hunters steeped in the art of deception. And the Naturalist update in July, with hunters that deal in extreme necessity. All for free. Which means that if we want to keep this ball rolling, then we need more people to buy Ball Pit. So
Turn it off. Turn it off.
He has to make more Ball Pit. So more people buy Ball Pit. So he has to make more Ball Pit. So buy Ball Pit more.
I mean,
Right,
it's
calm
just
down.
gonna get worse. It's just gonna get worse.
I have my base is still I haven't cleared everything yet. I can afford to, but I've kept it kind of strategically like blocked off in a sense. So I haven't opened up that whole thing yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's smart or not. Yeah, thank you though. I'll take the compliment. But then so I haven't like cleared everything, and I'm just sort of interested to see where it goes. But you can get just so mesmerized by the sound and the music too. I like to crank them. I normally find music distracting in games, but yeah, it's a great way to lose.
It's such a perfect one more run game.
Yeah.
One more go. Like I could do it. It's such a perfect like time waster where you're doing work and you know having this on the side, or a perfect let me just lose hours focusing on this.
Yeah.
And having a great time. I love, Hollow Knight, Silk Song, I'm also playing.
Okay.
Also very similar where you could play for 10 minutes and make progress, or you could play for 3 hours and make progress.
All right. Okay. Good to know.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to take any more of your recommendations. You've ruined my life enough as it is. And the harvesting, or you send the guys and then they start bouncing. That's his own
So I
challenge.
was just kind of slapdashing my town together. And then I was like, damn it, I really wish I could kind of start over or move some stuff off the screen to rearrange. And then I realized, let me just select everything and just rotate it, because I had all my like wheat fields and forests in the back, and I just like, let me just flip it around, and perfect. Got my upgradable buildings in the middle, so we just hit those. I love it. So fun to play around with.
No doubt. I could go on and on, but
we
have other topics for sure. But we'll play games in the future, though. You and I, we gotta hang out in Rocket League. And maybe
absolutely, yes. I want to play some Rocket League.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, because I'm going to post this on my channel, so send me a thumbnail worthy photo of yourself.
I have one. I have literally one. I'm not the most photogenic. Not since my beard fell out. Yeah, I'll send you one.
I made a reaction today to the new Avengers Doomsday trailer featuring the Wakanda characters and Fantastic Four. So that's what I've got going on. But I've also been watching your clips from your documentary that you've been making,
Okay.
which is called "Tell the Truth, Cenk."
Yes.
All about Cenk Uygur and his efforts to stop unionization at the Young Turks, which is a YouTube political channel, the home of progressives, as their slogan once said. And
Right.
I have my own history with the Young Turks, but I assume you're an expert. You worked there. You obviously are putting together this well-researched documentary with plenty of interviews. Give me a quick and simple. Where did this come from? Where did the Young Turks come from?
Oh, the Young
what does
Turks.
the
Okay.
name mean even?
Well, okay. Well, you're giving me the expert label. Okay, I haven't yet gotten my master's and my PhD in quantum physiology from Subway Drive from the Arby's. I haven't bought my multiple. Okay, we might touch on that later.
Yeah, we'll get into this.
I mean, I've been paying attention to TYT since they first turned up on Air America back in the earliest days. I know we've heard Sam Cedar. I know he likes to kind of talk about his time on that network, which was kind of a early attempt for to put some money and some funding into a radio network that answered the right wing's dominance in the mid 2000s. And
so this was like an AM radio station for
not
left wingers.
Online, they might have had some like conventional.
I'm saying Air America.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about too. But
Okay,
it wasn't exclusively air. It was online mostly, I think. But I think they also aired on radio as well. This is like 2004, 5, 6 or something like that. So, Sam Cedar was on it. The Young Turks were on it. Tom Hartman, Rachel Maddow, and Chuck D had a show with Liz Winstead.
Chuck D from
Rachel
Run
Maddow.
DMC?
Yep, I think so. I assume so. I don't know how many Mr. D's there are. Yeah, but that was like Liz Winstead, Rachel Maddow, Chuck D, a couple others I'm probably forgetting. But Sam, Majority Report was on there, and I was a little bit late to listening to TYT, and I was an early adopter of podcasts and stuff. But TYT started actually in Miami or something. Again, my details are a little bit murky, but I'm in the zone. But like Ben Mankiewicz, and who also is probably best known for being on Turner Classic Movies and being a host on there. Anybody over 50 is probably real excited. My uncle was once like, "Oh my God, Ben Mankiewicz from?" I was like, "Yep, that's the guy." I was also like the son of some Hollywood royalty of a sort, and his dad has political connections, and is a well-known figure in some older political eras.
Oh, I know this guy.
Yeah, he's fairly well known in some areas. Yeah, but so he was partners and buddies with Cenk, and they had started doing. I think they actually met when Ben's. Again, this is like late 90s, I think, but Ben was doing Miami television or something, and Cenk had gone to Wharton Business School and graduated. I don't know his precise. I think his degree is some sort of management. That's the same business training academy, vampire training academy as Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
Okay.
And it's known as like the prestigious business school. It's like top 1 or 2 according to rankings, according to these ruling class. Oh wait, can I swear?
Yeah, sure.
ruling class fuckheads who are impressed by that kind of shit. Which is also like listed in the film briefly at one point. Anyway, so then he went to Columbia Law and worked as a corporate attorney in Washington. But I think he had ambitions to do radio, and he's obviously a loudmouth with a ton of opinions and thoughts. Yeah. I relate.
Fair.
not holding that against him. And he's very ambitious, and he comes from a rich New Jersey landlord family, and had a lot of ambition and stuff. And so they started a show, and I know he did some local news things, and respect. It takes some effort. Takes some initiative. Your own self-starting. This is not the part where we're calling him out. And I think one of Cenk's skills that others could use more, and I don't have at all, is getting other people to do stuff for you. That's kind of the genius to a success, is to be like, if I could just talk for 2 or 3 hours a day, and then a bunch of other assholes had to like do like the annoying stuff with the cameras and the posting and the editing and the fighting with people online and stuff. I mean, he does that too now, but so they started to build out a small following. They ended up on Air America, but they also were very early on YouTube.
Okay.
And that's where Cenk gets his claim, as we just saw on the I've Had It podcast he was just on. This aired out this morning.
He was on there?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
Yes, you do. Yes, the comments are like just a flame factory. It's amazing. It's just it's kind of weird.
Cool.
People are like mad at Jennifer and Pumps for having
him on. I'm sure
they're even like, you shouldn't have even done this. This is over the line. I mean, not everybody, obviously, but because there's a myriad of reasons people point out, and I was leaving some comments in there as well because I'm trying to bring attention to the documentary.
Yeah.
Which is about misinformation and media cover up and such. But yeah. So anyway, I think Cenk, the reason I brought that up is Cenk says that one of the things he says is that he's the original YouTuber. He was the first guy to get a contract with YouTube in the earliest phase, and like all of us, YouTube has had to go through different stages of development. And it's, so there's eras within YouTube, and they didn't always sign people to monetization deals.
Yeah.
So TYT rightfully has a claim to the earliest era of YouTube, and especially in the politics and news. And you could even go to their webpage or to their YouTube channel, click on videos, sort it by popular or by oldest, I think is what it says. So there's little buttons above the videos, you could see their first videos and the stuff that went viral back then. And, there's a lot of stuff you could find that is pretty ugly in terms of sexism and
I've heard legend. I've heard tales.
Yeah.
And you say you're not an expert. Look at you naming like his career trajectory.
Well,
I've heard tales. They started out kind of like TMZ-ish, like Vice. Also another early like YouTube, getting on YouTube early as an outlet and putting out like kind of shocking clickbaity. I remember, and when I first heard of Vice, it was like, oh, we went to go live on Skid Row and like hang out with drug addicts for a while, or we went into a trap house or something like that. And
right.
I guess TYT had stuff like that as well. Like, look at the camel toe on these women at the red carpet, or whatever kind of catchy, BuzzFeed-esque titles that they could come up with.
There was a good degree of let's look for camel toes and moose knuckles and camel shoulders and giraffe necks. But like I think the way Cenk would describe it and is that it was a strategic, and I don't mean this in like a defensive sense, but like sure. that they did kind of an hour of pop culture entertainment. And he usually had a female co-host do that sort of news presentation, and then he would give his take to it. But then there was also a second hour of more substantive news and analysis. That's where Ben Mankiewicz would jump in. Michael Schur, who is he remains a TOT contributor, was also a correspondent on Al Jazeera and Current TV. So he's kind of lower tier news correspondent guy, but he gets around. He actually ran for Congress even, I think, in 2022, I want to say. I saw his signs in LA. I almost went and grabbed one. I think it would have been a nice souvenir. Anyway, if you don't know who he is, it's not funny. But so like that kind of garnered an audience of, honestly, so in the film, it's not about TYT's history. But one of the reasons I'm the right person, well, right is not, not quite the right concept here, but one of the reasons this movie and this project is a good fit for me is that I do have this background with the Young Turks. I have been paying attention to this world for quite a long time, and both from an outsider perspective, then as like a very loyal fan, and then as like an insider as a worker. So I eventually moved through a series of contacts, kind of coincidences. I'm trying to skip over some stuff, but I ended up moving to LA in 2013 for an opportunity to work at the Young Turks, and I was assigned to like the Jimmy Dore show. He was doing a show at the time. He was pretty new. I'm actually like, and so just to rewind slightly, I was doing stand-up comedy in Chicago. I started in 2009, and I was like listening to podcasts constantly. I was running an aquarium business. That was my day job. Yeah. Great for scheduling. Also, it was a really good job for a comedy, like trying to do comedy at night because it takes a lot of time. But so like, because I had actually recommended the show to a buddy, a really close friend, he got really into it and started volunteering, and then he ended up moving there in 2011, and I helped him move across the country at that point, and that was my contact there. And actually, I was a fan of Jimmy Dore's program, Comedy and Everything Else, because I was a stand-up listening to other stand-ups, and he would talk politics sometimes, and we're going back 15 years. It's crazy how long ago that is.
Man.
And, so don't hold it against me, guys. Okay, my Palantir wasn't working. I didn't see the future. All right. So I recommended that they look into Jimmy, and they like got in touch with Jimmy, and they invited Jimmy on as a guest. And that's like he probably wouldn't have been stitched into the Young Turks had it not been for me.
Okay.
So that's So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look,
that's a weird part of deep lore. And then I
web.
did a bunch of different jobs in the various efforts from then on. And just to summarize a little bit, went back to the company. So like off and on up until like 2018. And then when I returned as a full-time video editor, that's when the employment conditions thing sort of kicks in. And there'd already been a union attempt before that, but my employment conditions spurred the second attempt, the waking up of the union. And of course, that folds us into the part where Cenk then goes and runs for Congress and then does union busting while running for Congress, and included the slanderous lie about his own workers that the reason the union started was because outsiders wanted to harm his run for Congress. Like literally that it was sourced from Nancy Pelosi and her minions. Can I just say an important detail though about that, because I don't want people to think I'm leaving this out, is that IATSE, the union we were joining, endorsed Cenk's opponent in the race, which is relevant to the whole thing. And that's why in the film we spend like a good 20-30 minutes sort of going through the whole race to show the unfair treatment Cenk and his campaign and the Young Turks were receiving at the hands of a DC insider establishment base that they were that perceived them as progressive outsiders. And I think you could argue they were. And that's one of the few things the Democratic Party is very effective at, which is pushing back against progressives of any kind. We have all sorts of examples, and I'm going to include something about that in the final version of the film, about that history, as well as the history of TOT. Okay, rant over. Go. Your show.
I wanted to play a clip that can be found on the site.
Please.
Tell the Truth, Cenk. Which I think the clip is it's busting the union was the worst business decision ever. Is that the one where you talk about him running for Congress, and that's why IATSE?
Yeah, if you could just start it, I'll know. There's the sequence about the lawyers, this one, because
negotiation was impossible. I was told I had no leverage and even less hope that management would do the right thing. My choices were to leave or stand up for myself.
All right, so pause it right there. I like back up a couple frames. I want people to see the background of that shot.
To leave or stand up for myself.
Right there. You messing with the wrong bitch. So at this point in the story that I'm talking about is I was classified as an independent contractor when I returned to the company in late 2018 as a full-time video editor. And I had stayed in touch with them. I was on the Jimmy Dore program in 2016. My first stretch with TOT was like 2014, 15, 13, 14, and then some of 15. And so I was kind of a person within this sphere, and kept in touch with them. They called me up. Can you start on Monday? It was no job interview because they knew what I was capable of. And they, I don't live far, and it was, I was having
already worked there.
Yeah. It was like, hey, we got a spot opened up. Can you come in on Monday? And I had already let them know I was hoping to look for some work, because I'd been really having a difficult time, like with my issues and my struggles, which is sort of part of the movie, but not the point. Is I didn't know what autism was until about 3 years ago. And I just been kind of in this last 10 years of my life have been this mess of stuff. If you're other late identified,
going through a similar thing right now.
Yeah, it's something else, man. It is wild. And so I was stunned. I read an article that described my whole life, and I was just like, what the fuck? That's what autism is? Oh my God. And I didn't decide that night, that I did research, but so I was desperate for work, and I was happy to get this job back. And I like video editing, and I like the people there, and I knew half of them already, and I knew I was good, and it was close and great. I'm in $21.63 an hour, no problem. But then I show up, and they're like, sign these papers that say you're an independent contractor and there's no benefits. And I was like, oh, that sucks. All right, maybe like a month or two. Okay, a trial period. That's still shitty, but fine. We're all conditioned to accept a lot less than we should. And so as the months kept going by, though, I'm working full-time video editing, and I knew that the role I held that was held before me was an employee's job. So on Friday, it was employee. On Monday, when I showed up for it, it was now called an independent contractor job.
And they don't give you benefits or anything.
No benefits.
And cut costs is what they did.
Well, you put it really nicely. Let's use different words. Like I would use the word stealing. It felt like fucking stealing to me. So but not right away necessarily, because you sort of, like I said, okay, fine. I hope I'm going to do a good work here and I'll get hired and I could use some benefits. I could like to see a doctor, get paid for a day off, be treated with the same disrespect everybody else gets. And where was I? Sorry, lost it. The months keep going by.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yo, and you can tell I'm like not a quiet guy.
Yeah.
A little too much honesty, a little too much boundary detection is not great, a little hyper brain, autistic maniac.
Sure.
And so but I'm like, yeah, I think this is unfair. I don't see this is crazy. Like we have all kinds of days off here I didn't get paid for. I took personal time I'm not getting paid for. Or let me put it a different way. I earned money that you're keeping that I deserve because I'm doing full-time labor alongside people who are classified the same, differently than me.
Right.
On top of all that, my hourly was less than everybody else too. So if normally in an independent contractor kind of situation, they would give you like a much higher rate because you got to cover all your own taxes and you're sort of operating as a business, as an outside contractor.
Right.
And that sort of justifies the lack of benefits. And usually those would be like temporary engagements or something like that. Right. But I was just doing regular stuff, man. I was editing Hasan videos. I was editing Francis Maxwell stuff. I was editing regular show things and, working with the company. And I can only complain so much. You can just put your head down and kind of go through it. Because if you're too annoying, then they can get rid of you. And finally, though, I have a meeting with HR. And why I wanted to pause on that spot there was that I felt really, you don't have to show it. It's okay. But yeah, there you go. Because I said my choices were to leave or stand up for myself. Right. So I was just like, I got to do something about this. And I'd heard about the union drive that had gone dormant about a year prior that other workers had initiated due to a different set of exploitative working conditions. And I was like, I'm waking up this union. I'm not putting up with this shit. This is ridiculous. I can't. This is outrageous. Actually, like we're talking about like thousands of dollars,
and especially so. I'm gonna let you keep going, but especially at this place that professes we love union, all these leftist policies, including we love unions, go unions, the teachers union, whatever,
You know how weird it is when your boss is screaming at a camera that it's barbaric, that people don't get health insurance and that they die when you get sick and that when they go into debt, and he's yelling and screaming and acting like it matters to him. And you got a piece of paper in your desk that says you don't get health insurance.
Yeah. He made you sign.
That I had to sign. And so this is where the disrespect knife gets twisted, right? It's like they hooked it up to a drill and just spun the thing. I finally get a meeting with HR. And at this point, I'd already started to kind of initiate the union effort, meaning it just means bringing it up a little bit, very carefully. Don't do it on Slack, everybody out there. Don't do it on company communication platform. But not much had happened quite. And then in terms of the union effort, the second attempt, right? Mm-hmm. And so I have this meeting with HR, and I'm like, it seems like this company should live its principles. Like you guys aren't protecting your own reputation. Like, wouldn't this be bad if it got out? Wouldn't this be bad if somebody who had principles wanted to tell this story? Hint, hint, and also this is a real problem for me. I'm out lots of money and I'm very stressed and I'd like to see a doctor. And I think it's brutally unfair what you're doing. I didn't split in those terms. I wish I had probably. So they answered that by, instead of saying, hey, dude, that went on way too long. Here's all the money. Here's the thing. Sorry about that. No problem. It could have been like a mistake, right? They changed my classification. So they hired me and then they called me a part-time temporary worker.
Oh.
Now, did I work part-time?
Even less than independent contractor.
Still zero benefits. I did get auto-enrolled in the company like savings thing, like employment retirement savings thing. But the employer contribution is a big fat zero. So they just took my money and gave it to some, and eventually after this all shook out, I cashed it out because they were charging $5 a month for the account. So I lost like $90. But that's a small, that was the one benefit of being a part-time. But I didn't work part-time. I worked 40-hour weeks. And TYT's company policy is 30 hours threshold for part-time, full-time. And by the way, just so people understand, I've posted receipts for all of these claims on my Substack, baldonthéinside.substack.com.
That's a great name.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe it's everything comes out of my comedy kind of brain, so it's so it sounds a little stupid, but yeah, baldonthéinside.substack.com. I posted my podcast on there, and I post TYT stuff and articles and stuff. And anyway, yeah. Am I moving too fast? Is this coming?
No.
Am I throwing it out loud at you?
This is interesting.
So after that decision, and everybody around me knew what was going on, because they also cared. The type of people that are going to work at the Young Turks are the type of people that might have lefty principles and liberals and leftists and socialists, and like, not that they have a test, but like one of my lines, is like, if you don't want your workers unionizing, be the Daily Wire. Hire a bunch of stupid fools that don't have any idea that you're allowed to stand up for yourself to your boss. They're happy to be stomped on. But so it was something we were all invested in, as well as it was the previous effort. And there was kind of a, disrespect, flying around a bit too. Yeah. Just generalized people wanting a voice in their workplace and want to have a sense that they have some influence over their own destiny so they can keep making their bosses rich. So because now I'm working for zero benefits but they're calling me part-time and I'm working full-time. That's when the union organizing took on a greater intensity. That's when we went from like, I'm thinking about it to now I'm talking to a couple people, one or two people, and then it's two people, and then it's three people. And then we're like, okay, let's go talk to them. And, it didn't take much. It's not like we were persuading anybody or doing it. It was like very, a lot of solidarity was blooming. And so like in the film, like one of my sort of images is the flower pot with the green growth thing. And then Jenk, he flies in and smashes it. And I sort of want that as a kind of symbolic notion that we're nurturing our own health with green, with growing a plant, with actually something like organic, like nature. And so that's what we were doing at that during that summer and during the fall. And all of a sudden, Jenk surprises everybody. And we had just decided we were going to reach out to IATSE again. Like they had been in touch with IATSE before. IATSE responded. And the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, they represent production and post-production professionals.
Yeah, these are the people who make movies, folks. These are just production assistants, camera guys, lighting guys, caterer. I mean, I don't know if the caterers are in there, but like anyone who's running around on a set, folding up wires, putting up the set backgrounds, making sure everything's okay. These film and TV crews cannot. This is the crew.
Wiping wiping wax off the boss's earpiece, like I used to do back at the current TV channel. So
they went on strike. 2 years ago now, along with the writers and the actors. When all that was happening.
Yeah, with the Writers Guilds, that was a big one. And that actually is in the film too. The AMPTP, the Academy of Motion Picture Producers Theatre, that's like that's the boss cabal of the Netflix and the Hulu and the other Warner Brothers. Turns out the Young Turks uses the same law firm as the AMPTP. The producers law firm. Yeah, Mitchell, Silberberg, and Knupp, because 2 NLRB cases were generated by the union busting, and those showed details about their legal background. And both law firms were both anti-union law firms, but one of them is this big Hollywood anti-worker law firm. So very progressive. Very, Jenkins says against the establishment, but he's more than willing to use the legal infrastructure of capitalist oppression. I think that's how I phrase it. Sure. But so this thing is kind of a classic labor story, right? Like it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of risk. We did it in secret because we knew we would face consequences for unionizing. We understood nobody knows their boss better than their longtime workers, right?
Right.
In terms of especially this sort of thing where people who have parasocial connections with Jenk think they know him really well because they ingest the product more than they actually work for the guy. And it was just like kind of stunning the whole time. It was just like, I can't believe it's really happening. I really can't believe that I'm working and I knew how things were made. I wasn't expecting a ton of respect working there. I knew I could deliver a good work, and I did the entire time. All of us still did our jobs this whole time. Now I get laid off though. I get laid off in January of 2020. So Jenk becomes a politician at the end of 2019.
Okay.
Now he's
so,
running
yeah.
for. Now he's running for
So the
Congress. Go ahead.
summer timeline briefly
Yeah.
is TRYT comes up in prominence in the early 2000s, gets, it was on YouTube, gets on Air America. Eventually, when I discovered them, it was 2012 on Al Jazeera. They were actually broadcast on television. And then by 2013, you work there, or in 2011, your friend goes to work there, and then you go follow him about 2013, 14, off and on till 18, when the second union drive that you kind of are like realizing, hey, I'm not getting paid here. Other people also are not happy with the conditions here, and you kind of wake up this union. And then by the end of 2018, 28, so that summer is you building the unions, and then you go to present it.
Yes.
When?
So most of the organizing happened in 2019.
Okay,
I went back in like late 2018, right? But the first attempt, I'm doing like a calendar here. Like the first attempt was like May or June of 2018. So the union originates in 2018, and that's a very important detail, because the fundamental lie that I'm challenging Cenk to tell the truth about with the title of the movie is, when and why did this union start? Right. He's already lied publicly about being a union buster. That's been documented. And I've shared all those videos quite a lot. And maybe in other future times we can look at them again too. But that's not necessarily the core that I'm getting at. The thing that I'm trying to reveal is that the story that he erased was the story that we lived, which is, but the truth, so the truth I want them to tell is about that the union actually began 18 months before they became a politician, because the core lie that they told is that outsiders started the union, which means that Cenk wants his company to believe that no unionizing happened until he ran for Congress, right? So he's totally cutting off that entire year and a half before he ran for Congress. And by the way, that's such a stupid plot anyway. If you just break it down, like, why would they think to start a union at this company and bet that he would be dumb enough to reject a union just for the, like, out of self-interest?
Right, exactly. Like, why would you, if they some outsider decided to squash your run for Congress by outsidelly, not a word, but outsidelly starting a union within your company to get you to squash it and then call you a hypocrite for professing progressive politics, or to destroy your company, because that's what unions do. They destroy companies and infect your ability to go on air and have this big megaphone. Which is it? Either one, that doesn't make sense.
Easiest trap in the world to avoid. Like this like Mr. Magoo bumbling into a beehive and just getting, what the heck happened? It's like, you're the political mastermind, Cenk Uygur, the political genius, the business genius, and you were dumb enough to say no to a union. Just say yes to the union. It becomes the one bright spot, and it doesn't foreclose on all future opportunities to pretend that you care about unions. The moment you start, the moment you stamp your head with union buster, everybody's going to say, well, you don't mean what you're saying. That's like, and then he runs for president.
What else are you saying that you don't mean? Like, maybe you never cared that much that Tucker Carlson was saying all this bigoted stuff, if you're desperately, constantly trying to get on his show. Maybe you never really cared at all about rising fascism in this country, if you're trying to platform, get on your show or go on their show, all these figures who have helped usher in this era of American fascism. Maybe you guys don't care that much, and it screws everybody, because that was a big network of all these different creators, Mike Figueredo, Emma Vigeland, Benny, I forget her last name, Francesca, who was a contributor, but still that was a big platform that was elevating, as Sam Cedar would say, 1,000 flowers bloom. Right. Everybody, but there's one gardener. And I'm the boss, and I can clip those flowers if I want.
I could
use the organic plant metaphor.
Yeah, I might have to borrow that for the film. I'll put some scissors, but like, and I, for various reasons, I have mixed feelings too. Obviously, like I was grateful that Jank took a chance on someone who didn't have a proven media career. My friend vouched for me. I had some video editing skills, and I brought some. I'm a fast learner, and I was already doing Photoshop and filming stuff. So I brought some skill, but it's not like they needed me, some guy in Chicago. I moved across the country. I sold my business. It was all this really intense experience. But I was grateful even after all that kind of less than stellar outcomes from it, but I was still like, yeah, Jank gave people opportunities in this world, but it's also like we brought a lot of energy and a lot of talent to his operation too, that helped make him rich and raised his profile and raised the Anna Kasparian's profile. And so you have sort of that distinction between the kind of host layer and the sort of worker bee layer, and that's not unique to TYT. That sort of
thing. That's anywhere, but it also and that's what I mean when I'm saying like there was a lot of good people working for this, and whatever the most prominent figure does or says, it reflects people's attitudes, rightly or wrongly, on those other people. So I think of Anna Kasparian famously getting into it on Twitter because she doesn't like to be called a birthing person, and then again, like the first thing you see is all these other friends, not collaborators, colleagues in the same space, folks, talking, trying to talk her down basically, and be like, hey, this is not, I'm sure messaging her privately, trying to say like, hey, take this off Twitter. It's not good. It's not a good look, blah, blah, blah. And she's just publicly fighting people. And then so viewership goes down because the viewers don't want to see this. They address it on the show often when people criticize them. And then you'll see the people go, well, wait a minute. I like both of these channels. I don't want them to fight, and parasocially as well. Like, I like you guys both. I want you to be on the same team. Stop infighting. This is where the leftist infighting stuff, I think a lot of it comes from. It's just personalities arguing with each other, not so much the broad base of people. That's my suspicion.
Well, go ahead.
No, please.
Well, like I've heard Emma Vigeland talk about this a little, and she says that she has close relationships, and she was very close with Anna, who's like a mentor to her, and because Emma started at TYT I think in 2015 or so. Shoot, I don't want to get it wrong, but she did a lot of her and Jordan Cheriton. I think were sort of brought in around the time that maybe it was even earlier. Anyway, but in fact, it was during it.
It was Trump's first run, because I remember she talks a lot about like going to the rallies and stuff.
That's what I'm saying, is like she did a lot of real journalism where she would show up at these rallies. I don't know if she was always by herself. I think she might have had a camera person, but she, that's a risky thing to do in a
for sure.
She would ask challenging questions too, and she, especially these days, she probably would be having not more risk. But Emma did a lot of groundwork. I mean, like she was on her feet. She was traveling. She was doing a lot of risks that the people in the air conditioned studio weren't doing. But I've heard Emma describe it as like her friendships and her relationships in this field, and I hope I'm doing her justice for saying it accurately, is that they are kind of grounded on the shared principles that they have.
Yeah.
When she talks about why she didn't want to hang out with Tim Pool because he offered to have poker and with the boys, it's because she doesn't like them and their ideology, and that's a deal break. Like, no, I'm not going to stay here with you guys. But she felt that connection with Anna, and as that ideology then seems to have drifted apart, that creates a rift too. So,
sure,
but it spills into the public sphere, and I think a big thing animating some of this, what's the word I'm looking for? Animating animosity between these online hosts and stuff is this principled differences and these rightful disagreements about tactics. And Francesca went to war against Jank, kind of talks about that. But a big part of it too is the is loyalty. Is sort of, so like as I'm kind of like doing this project, I'm kind of circling bigger concepts, and there's two models of social models of power. One of them is trust based, and one of them is loyalty based. So you have trust-based, which is solidarity as a principle, mutual interest, mutual respect. We show up for each other. We don't necessarily have to agree on everything,
or like each other,
or even like each other, but we have similar interests, and we have respect for our rights to human dignity and collective liberation from all this horrible struggle. Solidarity, and it's very fucking strong, by the way, because we already brought Jank to heel once, and I'm hoping with this project we do it again by making them tell the truth, because that's how I sort of see it. Like, the story's not over because the justice hasn't been served, and the only thing I'm demanding is honesty and journalism, right? And so the other social model of power is the one we're all suffering under, which is loyalty based, and that is domination and subjugation. I give orders, you follow orders.
Trump.
I get like, that's why they get to call themselves job creators, which frames it as we're supposed to be grateful that they let us make them rich with our labor and our time and our money and our exhaustion and our herniated discs. I've got a bad back, by the way, so I'm always pointing out, like, that's my fault. I'm a computer goblin. It's all that ball pit, you bastard.
Yeah, man. Ball pit. You can't get enough.
Can I get some health care for my ball pit back? But, so that's sort of something I'm going to get into in the bigger, put this pen down. So in the bigger themes of the project is like the difference between domination and subjugation model and the solidarity model. Because and the whole point of this whole thing that I kind of want to say, and I'm going to quote myself from the future because I haven't put this in the script yet, but is like, union busting is what happens when solidarity busting fails. I'm sort of going to present the concept that the entire society, all the isms, the sexisms, the racisms, and we have the whole thing is about preventing us from realizing the class consciousness that we are in it together, and that we have more strength than they do. And what we did is we realized that essentially a union is an outbreak of democracy. It's an outbreak of respect. It's an outbreak of love. It's an outbreak of risk, meaning like we take a risk together because it's very risky to demand better by yourself.
Yeah.
And so a union is like extreme solidarity, because now it's like actionable solidarity. And so society is all about breaking solidarity, but occasionally, because humans do what we do, which is form groups and we're stronger together, we grow up and we turn into a flower of power and we say, no, you negotiate with all of us, not just one of us. And now we have more power than you do. And we're going to force you to pay
quote my new mayor,
$23 an hour instead of $21 an hour.
To quote my new mayor, the era of rugged individualism will be replaced by the warmth of collectivism.
Exactly.
And,
exactly.
I think Zohran had it right that this cult, I mean, it's not just him, it's the culture that we've lived in. It's capitalism. It's the world of trying to put the focus on the individual. We don't have to stop polluting. You need to recycle. We don't have to pay you more. You have to be more frugal. We don't have to, like, it's all on you, because then they don't have to do shit and they can keep doing whatever they want and making money. And it's bullshit. I want to, so again, check it out, folks. Tellthetruthchank.com. I want to check out the comments here on this I've had it video.
We left a lot of threads, and I hope to pick them up again and have you on my show and stuff. But yeah, that's what's so interesting about this. Just to wrap up my thoughts, it's like this whole project has so many angles, so many facets. It's all about labor. It's about news and politics, misinformation, trust, credibility, and that's also why I've been tracking
social relationships.
Yeah, that whole part of it. And now it's a cover up. Now it's a big cover up. And my dream is that the film becomes an educational resource for the labor movement and inspires people to support labor actions, but also that we demonstrate again the power of solidarity by not just the movie, but by forcing Jank to finally say the thing he doesn't want to say, which is the truth about how he treats his workers.
Yes.
There you go. Now let's get into this stuff.
Let's get into the silly shit.
Not all the workers, by the way. I don't want to speak for everybody. Some people are probably happy, just to be clear.
Yeah, so apparently Jank was on I've Had It. Billionaire Ass Kissers is the name of this episode, which is kind of funny.
Describing their guest. Yeah.
Describing the guest. Billionaires are the destruction of humanity. What the fuck? I used to be a paid subscriber for TYT for 2 years. 2 years ago, I completely cut them off because of their centrist shift. Polymarket's valuation approximately $9 billion. Same company that sponsors TYT. A lot of fans seemingly trying to inform them about who they've had on. Do we not push back on interviews anymore? Ooh, okay. I gotta watch this to see if they they kind of let him run rampant. I wonder if they will address these comments. I hope so we can trust John Boehner.
Jeez.
Was that speaker? Okay. Please ask Jank about his Peter Thiel Polymarket money. Wait, is this fitting given how TYT is sponsored by Peter Thiel's, like the name of the again? Yeah, so there's a lot of a non-significant amount of comments. Exploiter, call him as you see him, con man.
Wow.
I guess that was probably something in the episode.
I watched
Shank and Anna have thrown the trans community under the bus. I mean, this I'm gonna give my brief history with TYT because I started watching the news in 2012. I'd flip between MSNBC, Fox News. I'd read Breitbart, Huffington Post, Daily Caller, Vox, every side to get a full view. I found it hilarious. Reality show about reality is how I describe it. And I remember that there was a channel called Al Jazeera that was like controversial because, oh my God, after 9/11, we're going to have this like terrorist news network on our airwaves, and it's brought to you by Al Gore. That's what I remember being the story. And then in 2012, when I'm watching the news, I'm like, oh, here's Al Jazeera, the channel. Let me check it out. Let me see what it is. And
what are your politics around this time, though? Where
politics are like, Abe, I don't care. I don't care about anything. I think there's nothing anybody could do. I don't vote. I think I'm just like entertained by the childish nature in which MSNBC and Fox will kind of go at each other, like almost like rappers dissing each other throughout the, like you could start in the morning and see them criticize a host on Fox News, and then later in the day that host will criticize that and then criticize another host, and then the host over here will go back. It was hilarious. And Trump kind of ruined it, but ironically. But so I come across TYT on Al Jazeera, and I don't get it. I don't understand what it is. They seem angry. They're going after like Republicans mostly, but also Democrats. And I'm like, I haven't seen this before. This is interesting. And it all seems from this like even further left than I know what left to be position of like, no, we're criticizing Obama not because we're right wingers, but because he's droning people and we don't like that, or because he's deporting people and we don't like that. And it was interesting to me, and I tried to watch it, but I couldn't get into it because I didn't like the personalities of Cenk and Anna. And then years later, 2019, 2018-19, I get into Majority Report, and I'm watching YouTube a lot more. And they are like hyping up TYT, will show clips from them, be like, yes, that was a good point, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, let me give this another chance. And I just couldn't. I tried. And it took me a while to get into Majority Report as well. But I just couldn't get into it. And I now, in retrospect, after what has happened, and seeing like Olayemi Olurin go on TYT and kind of get dogpiled about abolishing the police and abolishing prison systems, and
they were so disrespectful. They were so disrespectful.
Yeah, and then I'm a big fan of Leftist Mafia. I've been watching since day one.
Yeah,
and then seeing her kind of talk about that, and everyone else come to the defense of them and Anna, and then after the trans thing, also trying to give a lot of rope and leeway, and they did, and I get it, because either parasocially or personally, them, you're like, they can't be doing like this Dave Rubin, Jimmy Dore flip. Both also came from TYT and flipped to the right wing. They can't be doing this. That's insane. And I don't think I think if they are, it's very slow. And really what the conclusion I've come to is that they are like bullies who found a target that was socially acceptable, which was Republicans. So they could be as mean and cruel as they wanted to. And the audience was like, yes, we like this because we're also watching The Daily Show and Colbert and like these other entertainment / news pundits. And just the idea of I remember Jon Stewart years ago going on MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, and they'd ask him, how are you getting all these viewers? And he's saying, because you guys are failing at being the news.
Yeah, I remember that.
It should be boring. It should be information. And you are feeding people entertainment, and nothing gets discussed or drawn out or exposed. And so they're coming to me to do that. And it's and instead of learning that lesson, they were just like, oh, we just got to be more like Jon Stewart. Okay, let's do that. And I think the real moment for me of noticing, like, oh, they care about money. That's it. And like prestige. Like, I remember a quote. I don't know if it was in one of the clips you showed me. It's just an old quote that like Cenk wanted TYT to be on televisions in airports, because I'm like CNN. I'm just a standard news organization, and I want that kind of prestige. And I think Anna thought that too. And the thing that revealed that to me was it was a moment, I don't remember what year it was, where she kind of like, they're talking about Hasan, which is Cenk's nephew, who used to work at TYT, went and started streaming on Twitch independently, and then blew up, and now is one of the biggest political streamers on any
of
platform.
all time.
And
in thousands of years. Yeah.
She kind of freaks out for a second on the desk, and is like, if I knew I could just sit around playing video games all day and film myself, I would have done that. And I'm like, yeah, because you didn't really care that much. Maybe some of these policies you do give a shit about. I mean, you've seen recent clips of her going on CNN, or this world war debate that we are definitely going to talk about right now.
Okay.
And make good arguments and be able to still dismantle like right-wing bullshit. But I think really what she wanted was the prestige and the recognition of, I'm somebody you should listen to, and I'm getting the money that, like, you know, Abby Phillips gets, or Keith Olbermann got, or like whatever. And I could have a big, nice house like Hasan does. And I could, you know, I think it really comes down to the money. And
she was reacting to him being in a New Yorker profile is what set that.
Yeah, exactly. And like, she's like, where's mine? I never got one. And it's been 15 years. And I get that understandable frustration.
And those are markers of success in your career, and it's a big industry. You know, all industries probably have versions of that too, depending on a person's ego profile.
And it would be like fair to go like, well, damn it, like internally to go, well, damn it, the boss's nephew went and did this streaming thing that nobody thought would matter. And it turns out it does. And I can relate, because I didn't think Instagram mattered. I didn't think Twitter mattered. I didn't think any social media mattered. I think YouTube or Twitch mattered. But here we are on YouTube talking about it.
Yeah. And to be fair to Anna, your principles and ideology would be a total mess if your mentor was Cenk Uygur too.
Yeah. But now Anna's doing this kind of thing, which you and Jeff from Good Morning Comrade and
John Ross,
friend John Ross, not that John Ross, not murderer John Ross,
poor guy,
Kansas City Vanguard friend of the show, John Ross, you know, who I'm sure I want to have
host of the John Ross show, and also just started a new show about movie reviews. So yeah, check out John Ross. Yeah,
check that out. But this is what Anna's been doing. AI trailer.
Red carpet.
I guess I could turn this down. So this is a ad for Sam Tripoli, I believe, is a comedian.
Yeah.
Gavin McInnes, founder of the Proud Boys, violent white supremacist gang,
friend of the government.
No idea who that is. No idea who that is, or that. And then the big like main event debate is Anna Kasparian versus Pearl Davis, who went viral like a year or two ago for kind of just regurgitating red pill misogynist points, but as a woman. So it gives credibility to that, like Candace Owens does as a black woman for white supremacy, to coon out, as it were, that which I can say. You cannot. But
I can make bald guy comments, but
this is the AI trailer of this like big event that they're selling tickets to.
Pause on an audience shot right there. Yeah,
yes, let's pause on this audience shot and the environment, because you're making an AI trailer. You want to make it look hyped. The event hasn't happened, but you're showing footage as if it had already, which is already kind of a weird mind fuck. And so I wonder if they fed information of the actual venue into the AI to say, okay, this is what it's going to look like. Put people there and fireworks or whatever. But let's take a look at.
Check out the chat. I just posted a link, unless you already had a spot pick, but that'll give you a good sense for the audience in the private chat on the stream. Yes. Just to compare the AI audience, we don't want the viewers to keep that in their head. And now we watch. I think this link is Pearl walking in.
Okay. Yes. Perfect. I was going to ask you. Because we're going to get a shot of actually what the event looked like.
Anna walks in right before this, but this has better wider shot of the chairs.
Yeah, but I want to see.
I mean, I would defend a place that's doing a production for the first time. They obviously have some funding. But they're technical goofs and but still.
Sure.
Here's the audience though, nevertheless, to see the interest level. Oh no, it's like a 7-hour thing. So if you move that around, you're gonna have a.
Oh, whoops. Okay.
Yeah. Just reload that link that I sent.
Oh wait, here it is. No, I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, it was an interesting.
So here's Pearl walking in.
empty
chairs everywhere. I mean, I guess the venue kind of does look like that. I don't see any fireworks going off either.
It's certainly different than what's presented. It's like the real estate scams where they're showing like a AI house and then
I mean, I want to kind of hear what, because I was watching it with you guys a little bit, but it was late at night for me, so I had to be muted.
Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
You can kind of see, like, we were pausing. She walks in and she's like, there's no one fucking here.
She felt the
I gotta keep this smile on my face. Yeah. Wow, this is really not a big place. And also not, a ring in the middle that's encircled by a crowd.
Right. Yeah, the funny bit to me is the center podium where the guy stands has a clamp like this, like a mic stand clamped to it, holding a golden mic. Really? But it was a bizarre event overall, and I no shade to Anna for showing up to a weird event. People in media do things.
Sure, I would do this.
Stuff. I would have done it. People go to stuff, and it's not like that's the issue or anything. And she had a battle that Pearl, who just seems like she was like raised herself in the woods until like a year ago.
It seemed like I'd seen a lot of clips going around of like she froze, she didn't know what to do.
Yeah, she was very outclassed. And Anna's a professional. Anna knows how to hold herself and keep her thoughts together.
She's a pro.
She can get spicy too. And the overall of the her and Pearl back and forth was just this kind of befuddling mess. Anna, they kept arguing about custody rates and divorce rates and suicide rates.
Let me throw it up.
It was just this laundry list of grievances that the loser production society is filled with these men's rights losers.
This is like about a minute long.
Yeah.
Pearl, what are you doing? Like, seriously. Next question.
Is someone asking a question?
They're supposed to ask each other questions.
Women die every year during childbirth.
Not many.
This country has the highest maternal mortality rate of any developed country. So a lot of women do die as a result of pregnancy and childbirth. Yes.
This is very weird and awkward.
Yeah.
This is very weird and awkward.
And the audience is filled with like Jordan Peterson stalkers.
Yeah.
Weird cuds, so like it was a mess. And then they did this analysis. Let's see this.
This is Pearl, I think, streaming after the fact.
Oh, interesting.
And this is what she had to say about that.
I thought about it. I'm like, you can talk like this to men, but I'm bigger than you. I could body you. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, Yeah.
So maybe she was drunk.
No, she just said she could have beat up Anna if she wanted.
Yeah.
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 Oh, drunk now, you mean?
No. Rich P is saying this is the same Pearl I've seen before. She tends to only debate drunk.
Oh, I see. I gotcha.
So she might have been a little inebriated.
I know, but I have this fear in me of the police. I never want to like get in trouble in that way. But I'm getting older, and have you noticed the older you get, I'm like, do you know what? I could catch a charge. So
she's lamenting that she didn't physically assault Anna in that moment.
Alex, I'm 6'3". Are you 6'3"?
I'm not 6'3".
Well,
so
I win,
not.
bitch. I can body you. Ha
But I guess
that's like a.
There's lots of clips that you sent me that I do want to talk about with you.
You got time? Are we at 4?
But we're kind of here at the end. Damn. And I kind of want to just, as I let this trailer play.
Okay.
For an Amazon Prime TV show that is this person says, I created America's next biggest reality show, and it's documenting the real lives of political influencers on the left, right, and center. Coming soon to Amazon Prime. I believe it's called Party Lines, and it's just a straight up reality show. So again, my viewing of politics as a reality show about reality now has been reality showified. And I as I let this play in the background silently, I just want to go talk a little bit about, like I said, with Jon Stewart, where he tried to define, I'm a comedian, this is what I do. People criticizing me for holding a rally to restore sanity and it being a comedy festival should not surprise you. I'm not trying to lead a political revolution. I'm trying to make jokes. I come on after South Park. Stop, attributing me to this. And now we've moved so far that I don't feel like, and that's faulty logic. A lot of people said, like, hey, you may have started as a comedian, but you started a political movement. You should feel a responsibility to kind of take hold of this and own it. And I'm gonna just let this play in the background here.
Right.
But this what do you think of this era of the mixed? Yeah, I know, Destiny. The mixed, you're an influencer, you're a content creator, which can include Guillermo del Toro and Anna Kasparian and Hasan and Kendrick Lamar. You all create content and you all influence people. These lines of celebrity kind of getting drawn and redrawn and blurred and mashed together. Good, bad, what do you think? What's your take?
I think humanity, especially the United States, with our leadership, has done a bad job with the cognitive infrastructure and the emotional infrastructure of our beings. So we're sort of hummingbird brains feeding on the easy calories of sugar water through these drips of these parasocial, vicarious type TV shows. I think we underestimate how influential The Apprentice was, because that was essentially America's religion is celebrity and business. And so that guy, essentially Trump firing people was essentially church, God himself choosing to kick out D-list celebrities, which imbued the viewers with this notion of his untouchability and his sacredness.
Power,
14 seasons. And so, but advance that into the internet era, and you have hyper focus on clicks and on rapid response times. And now we have heavily mediated algorithms that are putting us all in our own weird little isolated bubbles. And they're actually only going to use all that to try to produce the replacement workforce. I've been saying like we're trying to switch from calorie-based labor to electricity-based labor. They want to get rid of humanity
way to put that,
and use robots and AI. And
because now they can just create an influencer, create a rapper, create a movie star, and they are trying to do this and then sell it to production studios and be like, hey, here's someone who you don't have to pay. You have to pay us, but you don't have to pay. You don't have to manage. You don't have to worry about getting an ego. You don't have to worry about wanting more money. You don't have to worry about, like, we have, and here's, like you said, it's electricity based, not calorie based. You don't have to feed them. They don't need health care. They'll do whatever you want. They could be in a Marvel movie. They could do the soundtrack for the Super Bowl, and you can also put them in a porn if you want. You can do whatever.
That Grok stuff is just criminal.
The Grok shit is insane.
It's totally nuts. It's crazy.
But like, it's a labor move. And
Yeah.
so is this. Like, again, I don't begrudge these particular influencers. You know, I begrudge them for their politics and their views and whatever. But I don't begrudge anybody saying, yes, you can shoot me for a day, or you can, you know, Taylor Lorenz appears in that. And I think Taylor Lorenz is a fantastic reporter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call her an influencer. I would call her a journalist, which is also a term that's been thrown around a little too liberally for my taste. And good people like Sam Cedar Hassan will remind the audience, I am not a journalist. I am an influencer. I'm a commentator.
I'm a commentator. Yeah.
But, you know, again, like Joe Rogan saying, I'm just a comedian, don't listen to me. Or even South Park, Matt and Trey saying, this is a cartoon show. We're trying to make each other laugh. Don't read into it about politics too much. We're literally just trying to make each other laugh. And it goes right past me. And I'm like, yes, I will continue to watch your show and gain insight into the world around me through South Park. Sometimes you have to just accept that the audience either isn't smart enough to go seek out their information, doesn't have time to go seek out their own information and do their own research, or not even know how to do your own research, which, like me, again, back in the day, I'm reading Breitbart, I'm reading Huffington Post about the same story so I can see where they differ, because I'm interested in what the underlying actual story that happened is, seeing what that looks like, seeing how they spin it. And then just this era of like, it's total tribalism. It's total demagoguery and cults of personalities, like, you know, Hasan and Ethan Klein going at each other, where just a few months earlier, Ethan Klein helps Sam Cedar get a dunk on Steven Crowder, and everyone's celebrating. And then a couple months later, everyone's like, oh, actually, fuck you, Ethan Klein. And I understandably, for someone who doesn't really pay attention to politics, I could see Ethan Klein being confused, being like, why all of a sudden I'm getting celebrated, and then the next day I'm getting shit on and hated, and I don't understand. So I'm just kind of lump it all in together as the same kind of hate. And I think, honestly, I've been watching a lot of like comedian stuff, Bill Burr, seeing the Riyadh Comedy Festival on his podcast and kind of just lumping it in with any other criticism he's ever gotten, or generally broadly comedians have ever gotten, as just like, it's just people whining on a blog. They'll forget about it in 2 weeks and whatever. And not realizing, no, this is a legitimate grievance that a lot of your fans have. And it's hurting your credibility with your fans. And he's going on the road soon. I'm interested to see if ticket sales go down, if people start heckling it more. Because again, that's Bill Burr, and he's going on the road. You know, it's going to be big venues, and I'm wondering, is it going to make a difference? Are people going to buy tickets just to go to heckle, or
probably some? Like the degree of blowback is also kind of mediated by the kind of audience you've cultivated. And he seems to have. I used to listen to Monday Morning Podcasts. I actually performed a stand-up once on a show that Bill Burr performed on here in LA.
Shit.
Hung out in the green room with him. It was kind of one of my highlights, because I looked up to him tremendously as one of the top comedians. Yeah. We're good on time, by the way. I know I should just trust you. All right,
we're wrapping it up.
I'm wasting time asking about it, but it's negotiating this like consensus, like reality consensus, and human beings, if we all watch the same thing happen, we're still going to have differences of opinion about what happens. It's like the telephone game, and now we have that times just trillions and millions, and then not on top of it, the algorithms are feeding us things or preventing us from seeing stuff. So managing those sorts of differences, and especially when people lack the communication infrastructure and the emotional comfort safety requires to be wrong, or to expect things, or to feel things that aren't true, cognitive dissonance. Like, I look at the way people argue back and forth, and instead of the cold concept of right versus wrong, like, oh, you're wrong, fuck you, because that provokes defensive response, I think of things as persuasive or unpersuasive. Because I think I can still validate your argument but you're still not persuading me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I can say that's, yeah, you got some points there, but you didn't reach my threshold for being persuaded by this. And that's, to me, a mental shift that I try to do in my stuff, where it finds that it's a bit safer to do that. Plus, then you can entertain arguments without feeling like you have to get that like surge of defensive emotional response. So that's,
and I mean,
you do,
you know, we're all in the ball pit together, folks.
Yeah.
We're all in the ball pit together.
We all got little skills.
We're all got little skills, and sometimes we can fuse together and evolve together and create something very powerful and get a real solidarity ball going. And sometimes the fascism is just too powerful, and you get crushed. But then there's another run. There's always another run.
That's right.
You can always try again. And I want to thank Hank for coming on and talking to me about this.
Yeah,
and we're
thanks for
going to
having
be
me.
doing more. Check him out at what is the blog called again? The bald one.
Oh, Bald on the Inside.
Bald on the Inside.
Winners and Losers on YouTube and tellthetruthjank.com. And we didn't talk about Dr. Richie, but Cam James, who made the exposés, he's doing one about TYT.
Okay.
Word. Dr. Richie threatened to sue, and he's like, well, then let's expose TYT. So
yeah. So again, very briefly, someone named Dr. Richie, who works at TYT, who has been accused by another content creator, influencer, whatever you want to call people, for his Dr. Rashad Richie being accused of having some real doctorates, but also several others that were just kind of easily obtained through diploma mills and places where a lot of like right wingers will go and get their diplomas so that they can call themselves doctor or put letters after their name when they sign their name. But anyways, folks, that's going to be my show today. And thank you very much once again, Hank, for coming on. And thank you for watching. And everyone on this space, again, everyone watching on my YouTube channel, go follow this space. Everyone watching on this space. Next up is A Difficult Truth with some actual fucking news.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.